Hey everyone! So last week when I went out to lunch, we went to an Indian restaurant and I started choking. It was a Paneer death experience. I'm just kidding. Happy Cheese Friday! And we're gonna cook today with cheese. Hey everyone, welcome to the Radical Geek YouTube channel. As promised, I'm going to do a recipe using cheese. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and then the little bell icon so you're notified every time we upload or go live. And that's the YouTube spiel out of the way. And if you aren't familiar with the Radical Geek YouTube, every Friday I do a little piece called Cheese Friday where we either do a little bit of a cheese review, or in this case, a day like today, I'm going to actually cook with some cheese. And as always, I have a cup of coffee. I'm going to take a quick drink, and then I promise I'll get right to business. So today, I've got paneer. So paneer is an Indian cottage cheese that's been heavily pressed. It's a fresh set cheese. So all it is from cow's milk. I think there are some paneers that might use buffalo milk, but that's really rare and you don't see it here very often. Anyways, but it's a fresh milk, and so it's made with just with an acid. A lot like we did when we made our cream cheese. It's just the milk and the acid. You can do the similar process when you're making ricotta and all that stuff, but when you press it and you're really getting rid of all that liquid, you're curdling it with the fruit or vegetable derived acid, your lemon juice, etc. All of that, that's what happens, is it gets compressed, but there's no aging or anything like that to it. So it's a fresh cheese, but unlike our cream cheese or your ricotta, it's a semi-hard cheese. Let me bring this up so you can take a look at it. Sorry, because it's awkward here at the studio, but we'll bring this to you so you can, well, it's kind of hard with the lights, isn't it? Just, there you go. Got it. So you can see, and I don't know if I can get this or not, but it's, it's really solid. Now, if you make it at home on your own, it might be a little softer. It's hard to get it thoroughly squeezed out. But if you buy it at the store, and it's readily available in a lot of stores, you can buy them at Costco. We buy stuff from Costco all the time. And you can buy it often. I can find it in my nicer groceries. Like here in Ohio, we have a grocery called Fresh Time. I can get it there. Lots of places. And but so it's not like it's some kind of elusive cheese. Now, I will tell you, talking about our cheese review stuff where we talk about a color, texture, hardness, appearance, which kind of goes along with the color, but and then flavor. So you can already see it's really, really white. So it's another exception to that rule that super white cheeses are often goat milk. But it's also, as you can see, it's really smooth. So it's not lumpy, and it doesn't have holes. It's solid. And it doesn't have any smell at all. It's also, normally with like our cream cheese and stuff, I was adding salt to it to kind of help it along with the flavor. But this doesn't have any of that scent at all. It's completely neutral. And it's the same thing if you taste it. There's basically just plain, it's not an out-of-hand eating cheese. I mean, you can, it's not going to hurt you, but might as well, I don't know, I'm not eating nothing. There's zero to it. It's a cheese that needs to be cooked. You can heavily season it and then fry it up or grill it up, and it will not melt. Yeah, I just didn't want to keep a little piece or have a piece that I bit and then throw it into the dish. So it's really weird not eating something with like zero flavor. It really takes great to like a hearty, spicy barbecue. It's great with a tikka spice or anything that you would think of, especially, or if you're thinking back to something like the halloumi cheese, how you grill that up in the fry pan. And yeah, you can marinate it. It's great once you get marinated and it seeps in. It's sort of like tofu that it takes on any flavor you put it with. So back to the cooking part. Normally this would be like, there you go, there's your cheese Friday, but we're doing extra today. The cooking part, we're going to make a dish called butter paneer. So it has a Punjabi Indian origins. However, it's a very Americanized dish, very popular with our palates. So here we are. What I have here is I have about 30 ounces of canned tomato. You can use the kind from the grocery store that are canned, but make sure you're getting just tomatoes and you're not getting a bunch of other stuff. If it's a little bit of salt for preserving, okay, fine. But don't get oils or other things mixed into it. You want good, high quality tomatoes. If you are a gardener, then you know that you already have canned tomatoes in your pantry because you canned them last season and you got to eat them up now before the next crop this summer. So about 20 ounces. I took those canned tomatoes and then I whizzed them up in my NutriBullet to make it into a sauce. Don't use canned tomato sauce. It tastes terrible. Get yourself high quality tomatoes. If you don't have canned tomatoes, but you have fresh tomatoes, just give them a quick blanch and take the peel off and then whiz them up in your blender. But about 30 ounces of that. This is an Instant Pot pressure cooker recipe. Yes, you can absolutely do this on the stove. It just takes longer. And to me, the pressure cooker really helps mellow out the acidity from the tomatoes, and I just like it. But let me take my liner out because I just find it easier to pour everything in. Get all that good tomato. Whoops. If you don't want to whiz them up ahead of time, you can, but I will tell you there are good and bad to that. And we are going to do things the slightly easier way because that's what we do. So here's this. So all I did was I put my tomato sauce in. The next thing we are going to do is add spices. So I've got my paprika. You want a good smoked paprika. Don't pay a fortune for them. Go to an international grocery and they have all of the spices you could ever want in a really nice high quality in big bags. That's what you want. A nice good smoked paprika. And I put in a nice big tablespoon. Adjust the spices to taste. I like things more spicy and flavored. By the way, you can hack this recipe if you want. I just find that about the 30 ounces of the tomato sauce version works well for our family. And as you can see, there's an awful lot of cheese. So we're making the big batch. There's going to be leftovers. The paprika. And then the next thing I have is cumin. I don't really want like a whole tablespoon of cumin. That's a really strong flavor. And if you need to at the end, you can always add more. But I'm going to do 2 teaspoons. 1, 2. I love cumin. I love the way it smells. And then, let's see. So cumin. And then the next spice that I've got is garam masala. There are tons of recipes to make your own. But again, hit up that international grocery and just buy it. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. You can find lots of uses for it, not just as sauce. You can saute your vegetables in garam masala and butter, and they become amazing. Again, well, 1.5 tablespoons, not quite 2. I do enjoy it. I will tell you, for some people, garam masala can get spicy. It is not spicy at all to me. So, it also has that really awesome scent to it. And then the last thing we're going to add is your turmeric. If you have turmeric root, which I did, and we used it all up in other things, so I'm pinch hitting tonight with the powdered turmeric. And don't be stingy with it. Turmeric is awesome, but I'm using 1 big old tablespoon of it. So, I know it's a lot of spices, right? But trust me, it's delicious. If it's too many spices for you and you prefer a more slightly more tomatoey version and a slightly less spice-filled version, just lower the amount of spices. But do not skimp here. I have here a big old giant pile of ginger paste and a giant pile of mushed up ginger paste, or ginger, I just said ginger, garlic paste. Easily a tablespoon and a half, almost 2 tablespoons of each. Do not skimp on your garlic and ginger. Everything else, if you decide to skimp on it, it's fine. But you need your ginger and your garlic. And just stick that right in there. And then the last thing that we are putting in here is your chili powder. You can use cayenne. Cayenne is a very complimentary flavor. I have Biber. I just really love Biber. Cayenne would be more traditional and probably a more familiar flavor to a lot of palates, but this is mine, and I've got about a tablespoon. Adjust if you don't like it spicy, don't put that much. But for me, that's nice and mild. So again, use your good sense and you dump it in there. I don't want to lose nothing. And then I said that was our last thing, but I'm a liar. We have one more ingredient, salt. You also want about a tablespoon of salt. Probably should have ground this up before we started recording, but I did not. And it goes quickly. Get the stuff from the lid and dump it off there. And done. I'm going to just give this a quick little stir. And you don't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be super incorporated. The pressure cooking will take care of that. But I do like to give it at least a light mix and get that sort of taken care of here. So, just a personal preference. And you'd think that you would dump the cheese in here. And that's a nice thing to do if you want to start infusing flavor into your cheese. I highly recommend actually dumping all your cheese into a cheesecloth pouch and putting that in there so you can take it out at the end. I'm just going to suck it up and let it be, just sit in the sauce while it's warm for a little bit. But here's our next step. We put everything in the Instapot. You get your lid situated, which always takes way too much fiddling on my behalf. Let it beep a couple times. There we go. And you are going to, depending on your model, we are going to pressure cook. Give me a second here. I got to, I can't remember where my buttons are. Oh, that was right the first time. Okay, you hit pressure cook. And let me just get this going. 1 second. All right. We are hitting, and that's too many minutes. It's 10 minutes. That's all it takes, 10 minutes, which is actually more like 20 because it has to come to pressure first. So we'll take a little break, and then we'll be right back to show you how to finish off the sauce and get our paneer ready. All right, everyone. So this is about to finish cooking up. That 10 minutes on high pressure. We'll give it a moment to start releasing, and then we're going to slowly do a manual pressure release on the Instapot. And I'll take you through the next steps, which involve a stick of butter cut up into cubes. There it goes. And 1 cup of heavy cream. Yes, that's right. This is not your lightweight dish. So that's going to be the next piece. We're going to use those 2 items, and you need a whisk. A whisk is very important. And so that is our tool of the afternoon. And of course, we still have our paneer. I have brought myself a little dish here, and I've put a little bit of riced cauliflower. This dish is excellent over colored rice, or maybe even a cauliflower steak. It's great over zoodles if you have some keto noodles. Either you've made some of the viral noodles or you've got one of the commercial package ones. It's really good over those healthy noodles that they sell at Costco. If you like shirataki noodles, they're great too. I used to love the shirataki noodles until I found better and a nicer texture. And suddenly now I'm too bougie for the shirataki noodles. So, some things to warn you about with your pressure Instapot. Be careful, this is very hot. So keep your fingers out of the steam when you're manually releasing the pressure. It took me a minute to reacquaint myself with this one. I have a newer version for myself and had set this one aside for my child who's moving out in August. So this was their pressure cooker, and it's the Duo Plus. So the buttons were not in the same place as my old one, and it was like, for a minute, I was so used to where I normally press, I got lost. But this is nice because this has the yogurt button, just like the rest of ours. Yeah. So watch it, because it does fit, and you can be, you don't want to burn yourself. But also, you don't want to just jam it open and let it out too quickly, because if you do that, what's going to happen is that because it's liquidy, it can sometimes get sucked up into the vents, and it's really very unpleasant. This shouldn't be really too much of a risk with that, because this is a very small amount. You usually see that happen to people who try to overfill their Instapots making soups and stews and stuff. But for the most part, we're just releasing the pressure. And it will be done in just a minute or so. But that sauce is looking great. Well, I can't say looking great. I can't see it. It smells amazing. So, I'm trying to be patient. It's hard because now the steam is coming. Oh, and the smell is even stronger. Like, you can smell it all through our house now. It's delightful. I love that. And there you just heard a little click. There's no of the pin falling back down. If you have been worried about using Instapots, just so you know, they are very safe. They are not like our old-fashioned pressure cookers that you had on the stove with the handle and the little wobble pressure thermometer. Those were the ones that had the risk of exploding. These, honestly, if it's not ready to open, it will not let you open. And so if you have to do anything more than I just did right now, stop. Just stop and leave it. Worst case scenario, press the off button and shut it off and leave it for a couple hours and then open it. Never, ever, ever do anything to try and force it to do something it's not ready to do. That's why people have problems. By no means, of course something's going to go wrong if it's stuck closed and you go at it with a crowbar. Why would you do that? Don't be dumb. And you, my subscribers, are not dumb people, so I know you wouldn't do that. But it bears saying just in case. So, I'm going to just set my piece aside. I have my little, the pot is very hot, so make sure you protect your fingers. And now you can see everything is all in the pot and very, it's needs incorporated. But here's where the magic happens. Start whisking and start dropping in your butter. It does not have to be in any, we're not doing hollandaise, so it doesn't have to be like super extra slow or anything like that. But one chunk at a time is kind of nice because then it doesn't cool off quite as quickly. So where's my napkin? Wrong side. Get your butter melted. It's plenty hot. It will definitely melt. And then once that's done, we start the next step, which is our heavy cream. Just keep whisking and drizzle in your cream a little bit at a time because you don't want to splash it everywhere. Basically, that's the primary reason for the little bit at a time. But you just bring that in. And you see that your sauce starts getting that a slightly lighter in color, and it becomes that sort of almost like a tomato soup look, but more yellow because of the turmeric. And just make sure you get everything incorporated. That kind of helps thicken up the sauce. Once you have it on your noodles and stuff, you can go ahead and put these into containers for like meal prep. But I can tell you, don't just bring your sauce and try and put it back in the pressure cooker. That doesn't work. Then your sauce will get watery. If you're reheating it up with stuff, it will be fine. It might get a little bit more watery than you initially had, but as it calms down from the temperature, then it will come back up. And here we go. The next step is go ahead and add in your paneer. Now, this is why I said if you wanted to infuse your paneer with more flavor, you might put it in a cheesecloth and put it in there and do it during the whole pressure cook. The cheese can stand up to that pressure cooking. So can chicken, for that matter. Butter chicken is fantastic. But I didn't do that because I didn't want to have to pull out the paneer and then incorporate my cream and butter. For me, this was fine. It'll absorb as it sits. I'm not eating all of this tonight. I'm going to have a little bit as a side dish for my steak today. So it's fine. And as it sits, the paneer will take on that saucy flavor. It'll get that nice bouncy texture. It's already at room temperature, so it got warmed up right here in the sauce. Let me bring this up and see if I can show it to you or not. 50-50 chance. I won't bring it up so close that I put my computer at risk, but there you go. That's how it looks. And I didn't bring like a serving spoon because I'm not real smart. I should have, but let me just go ahead and dish some of this up. Get a good amount of sauce here for my cauli rice. And as you know, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but it's a heavy, thick sauce. And so there you go. There's the finished product. Really super nice. Set that in here and leave it on the keep warm setting, because I will take that back up for family to have. And here we go. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a mix in with the cauli rice so the sauce can get in there. Makes that better too, right? So, I can hardly stand it, you guys. I love this dish so much. So good. Oh my God, it's just heavenly. All right, so there's your Cheese Friday. I will make sure that I get this recipe in the description for you, but remember, you know, the measurements are a suggestion. It's not really a recipe because everything to taste, it's actually super mild. I wish I had put more chili powder. I may mix some in now, but Oh, it is so stinking good, you guys. Definitely 100% recommend it. Have a great one. I'll talk to you Sunday on our live stream. We'll be making a dirty matcha. And if it's not raining, we'll be outside. If it's raining, we'll be right here. See you soon. Bye bye.